$2.13. Say it out loud, slowly, like it is a real wage a real person is handed for a real hour of standing, smiling, carrying, and being yelled at. $2.13 an hour. That is not a typo from a museum. That is the federal tipped minimum wage in 2026. It is legal. It is on the books right now in most of this country. And the only reason you might not know that number is that it survives by hiding behind a word everyone trusts: tips. So let us drag it into the light. Start with the floor under the floor. The federal minimum wage is $7.25. It has not moved since 2009. Think about everything that has changed in price since 2009. Rent, eggs, insurance. Now picture the one thing that did not move at all. That is the regular minimum. The tipped minimum sits even lower, at $2.13, because of something called the tip credit. $5.12 of your wage is just assumed. The boss gets to pretend strangers will make up the difference out of their own pockets. Here is the sleight of hand. They tell you the system is fair because if your tips do not bring you up to $7.25, the employer has to cover the gap. On paper, sure, in a building. In real life, the enforcement is a joke. Wage theft in tipped work is not the exception, it is the weather. Bosses pocket the difference, fudge the hours, count tips that never showed up. And the worker who complains is the worker who suddenly gets the worst shifts or no shifts. The protection exists, it just does not show up to work most days. Now, the number that should end the argument. 7. 7 states have actually banned the subminimum tipped wage as of 2026. 7. That means in every other state, under federal law, this is fully legal. Today, for the person who brought you your coffee this morning, we are not talking about some loophole getting quietly fixed. We are talking about 43 states where your dignity is still officially worth $2.13 an hour before the kindness of strangers kicks in. Do not think the tips you do earn are safe inside the building either. Tip pooling, where the house collects everyone's tips and splits them, gets abused constantly. Managers dip in. Owners take a cut they are not allowed to take. It got so bad in one recent case that a jury came back with a $21 million verdict against an employer for getting the tip pool wrong. $21 million. That is what the abuse adds up to when somebody finally counts. And for every case that reaches a courtroom, imagine how many never do. So who is this really for? Not the worker, obviously. The $2.13 wage exists so the cost of paying a human being gets shoved off the company's books and onto you, the customer, in the tip line, and onto the worker, in the anxiety of never knowing what the week will hold. The restaurant gets predictable labor without predictable wages. The risk all flows downhill to the people with the least cushion to absorb it. That is the entire function of the design. Move the risk to whoever can fight back the least. Here is the part I will not let you scroll past. A wage you do not control is not security. It is a hope with a name tag. When your entire income depends on someone else's mood, someone else's honesty about the tip pool, someone else deciding to honor a law nobody enforces, you do not have a job. You have a coin flip you have to show up to. The way out is the same as always. Stop renting your survival. Build something where the value you create actually accrues to you, not to the gap between $2.13 and a number you can live on. $2.13. They never repealed it. They just hoped you would tip enough to keep from noticing. Next time someone tells you the minimum wage is a debate, remind them that for millions of people, the real floor is lower than the price of the coffee they just served you. Wake up is not the slogan. It is the moment you stop accepting that a person's hour of work can legally be worth less than a tip. If that hits something, that is the point. I put the ownership idea into practice with MXEL, where the people who do the work earn a real stake instead of betting their rent on a tip jar. This is the ownership stuff in practice, MXEL at mxl.com. Stay loud.